In this video, I'm going to show you how I updated a local meeting place in my town. The very first step in this process is to figure out what you need to do to update your community center and to figure out exactly what you want to do. The building I updated is called Potter Park. It's special because it is a historical building in my town, meaning that it has some strict building regulations on it. Right next door to the building it has a memorial, as well as a youth center, a playground, tennis courts, and a bit farther down is the community garden. The main meeting area is very open, but we cannot hang anything on the walls due to the wallpaper being fragile and it can't be replaced. Potter has 2 restrooms, one for ladies and one for gentlemen. It also has a kitchen with a working sink, fridge, and stove. Along with that, it has running water. The building also has a fire extinguisher and proper signage for exits. In the meeting room, there are several power outlets. Potter also has a formal seating area off to the side of the main meeting area. In this room, there is a piano, chandelier, and a fireplace, as well as several couches and chairs. Potter also has long folding tables which are kept under the stairs and smaller card tables which are kept in a closet off to the side, as well as a corner with a bunch of folding chairs. For Potter, I am going to be updating the first aid kit and building an easel to get around putting things up on the wall. Now that you've seen your community center and that you have decided what it is that you want to do, you need to make sure that you get permission to do your project. A huge part of this project is getting permission to do it. As I've said, Potter Park is a historical building, but even in any building, historical or not, it's a good idea to let your town know of your plans. I met with our village manager and got his permission to work on my project. It's helpful to know exactly what you want to do to the building before this meeting so they know exactly what they are agreeing to. After getting permission to do your project, all that's left to do is to just do it. So this is how I did mine. The first thing I decided to tackle was the first aid kit. Now, Potter did already have a first aid kit, and it was put in by another Girl Scout troop, but is extremely old and hasn't been kept up very well. So what I did is I took out all the expired items and made a list of everything that was in the first aid kit. I then used this list to create a chart for the next 5 years so that the service unit can keep up with the first aid kit and make sure none of the items are expired, and if they are able to replace the items so that people can continue to use this first aid kit. I also put signs up around Potter which tell where the first aid is kept, which is on the top of the coat rack pretty much as soon as you walk in. Now for the biggest part of my project, building the easel for Potter. First and foremost, we got most of our materials from Lowe's. I was able to get a huge discount on all the materials by telling the manager that I was working on my Gold Award and providing proof of it, which was pretty much my Gold Award plan and the email confirming that I was allowed to work on this project. So the first thing we decided to build was the frame. You're going to need 4 1x2s, and we are going to cut angles into the wood so that it creates a flat surface for the tripod, and that the angles of the tripod end up being 80, 80, and 20. To make this angle, we are going to just barely cut off the corner of the wood. To make sure that this cut stays consistent, we're going to use the red line that's on the saw to mark the wood. Then we are going to take that mark and transfer it onto the other pieces of wood. And to make sure our mark doesn't wander, we're going to use the same piece of wood to mark all the other pieces of wood. If your wood has any staples in it, make sure you remove them before you cut the wood. Make 8 24-inch pieces. Make sure you mark 24 inches and 1/8 so that you account for the blade of the saw. Some of these pieces will be used to make the actual tray and the others will be used on the frame. You will also need a 24-inch long 1x4 for the bottom of the tray. To connect the top of the frame to the sides, drill 4 pilot holes, making sure they are in from the sides to avoid splitting the wood. Use wood glue in addition to screws to make it more secure. Screw in 2 diagonal screws first to make your wood stay in place while you screw in the last 2. Measure 38.5 inches down from the top. The mark will be along the top of the board, which will be the back of the tray. Use the squaring triangle to make sure the board is level. After securing the first side, you don't need to use the triangle for the other side. Secure the board the same way that you did at the top, with 4 screws. Make braces for the bottom of the easel simply by cutting a little piece of wood at the same angle that we had cut the legs of the brace for before. Flip over the frame and use spare pieces of wood to hold everything up while you work. If you're using wood you don't want to get glue on, then use parchment paper to protect it. Secure the bottom board to the sides of the frame using the same techniques as before, drilling pilot holes and screwing it in. When you go to glue the braces, make sure you glue the entire thing because you won't be able to pry it apart later. And make marks on the wood so that you can line up the brace with your pilot holes again later after removing it. Finally, to connect the wheels to the base, drill your first pilot hole and put in the first screw. Then do the other so that it lines up better. Also, be sure to dip your screws in glue to secure it even better. Cut the edges of the tray so they are wide as the bottom and as tall as the sides. We ended up making the edges of the tray too tall, so we cut them down to the right size later. Drill pilot holes into the tray to avoid splitting the wood and use screws to attach each side together. Make sure you place your screws so that they don't hit each other when you attach the bottom and the sides. Attach the tray to the piece already attached to the frame, the same way that we have been doing with pilot holes and screws. Make sure that you glue the wood together. Cut a piece of wood to 26 inches, making sure that you add on that 1/8 of an inch for the blade. We're going to cut 80-degree angle on the end and a 45-degree on the other end. Next, we are going to make a template in order to put the bolts in the correct place for attaching the panels. We are going to use a 2x4 as a template, and this needs to be at least 24 inches long. Make sure that if you're using a piece of wood that is bigger than the wood you're going to end up using, that you mark on the wood the size of the wood that you actually are using so that you don't put the holes in the wrong spot. You can use a drill press to drill 90 degrees, but you could also just hold the drill, and some drills even come with a level to help you get that 90-degree angle. So after creating the box of the size of the actual wood we are using, we measured to about the center of that box and drilled the hole there. Using a template ensures that the frame and panels have the holes and bolts the same distance apart. We tried using another piece of wood to transfer the mark from one side over to the other, but it ended up being reverse of what we wanted, so just repeat the steps from before. Now use that template to drill holes into the frame to put the bolts through. Make sure that you clamp the template in place. With this template, the drill doesn't go all the way through both pieces of wood, so use it to place the hole correctly, then remove the template and finish drilling the hole through the frame. Place the bolts so that the head of it is at the back and it extends forward. This way we have a place to put our panels. Use a washer and a nut with a wrench to tighten the bolt into place. Now for the actual panels. Use a circular saw to cut down the whiteboard into more manageable pieces. Then use a table saw to cut the whiteboard and back pieces to the correct size. The ending dimension should be 24 inches by 36 inches. One panel will be a double-sided whiteboard, and the other will have a metal sheet on one side and a chalkboard with a corkboard on the other side. With liquid cement, attach the whiteboards and the metal sheets to the back pieces. Leave the liquid cement to dry for 20 minutes. Make sure everything is lined up before you press the two pieces together. And to secure the pieces even better, use a round object, such as a wine bottle, to roll the two pieces together. On the opposite side from the metal sheet, spray paint the back piece with chalkboard paint. Once the paint is dry, use liquid cement to attach the corkboard to the top of the panel. Once everything is all dry and attached, measure 2 inches from the top of the panels and line the template up with that mark so that the holes will be 2 inches from the top. Now use the same process as before with the frame to drill holes into both of the panels. To clean up the holes after they are drilled, carefully use a box cutter to get rid of bigger pieces and a rat tail file to smooth the hole. To attach the hinges to the top of the frame, cut another piece of wood to put along the back of the easel, which we will be attaching the hinges to. Attach this piece of wood with glue and screws. Use some thin material to keep the two frames slightly apart while you attach the hinges. Make sure the hinges bend the way that you want them to before attaching. Once the hinges are attached, we can stand the easel up. To attach the braces, just below the tray, attach a bolt with a series of braces. Use glue to help keep the bolt in place along with the screws. Attach the thicker bolt to the opposite side of the brace, eyeballing about where it should go. Attach it the same way you attach the other bolt. Drill a hole into the brace so that the bolt can go through it. We end up having to cut more off the corner of the brace so that it will lay flat when the easel is folded up. Drill a notch at the edge of the brace so that it can lock in with the thicker bolt. To secure the brace, we use 2 nuts and a lock washer. Screw on the first nut, leaving some space between the nut and the wood so the brace can move. Then put on the washer and the next nut. To tighten, use 2 wrenches, one to hold the first nut and the second to secure the second nut to the first. Then attach a train about halfway from the top of the easel to the tray so it doesn't extend too far when you're trying to set it up. To help keep the panels in place, we use bolts with large and easy grips so that switching the panels would be easier. Finally, my uncle helped me to paint the entire easel blue. And now, here's me giving my project away to the town of Fairport.
Okay, so this is my Gold Award project. I created an easel for those who meet here at Potter so that they can use it to help them with their meetings. This board itself is a double-sided whiteboard, and we have included both markers, erasers, and a little cleaning thing to help them to maintain this. And this whole system is on wheels that you can lock and unlock so that you can move it around easier. And so over on the other side, this is also double-sided, and on this side we have a chalkboard and a cork board. We have included 10 different colors of chalk and a bunch of little push pins for their use. And then on the other side of this, there's a metal sheet, and to access the other side, we have these little screws that you just unscrew.
It's under here.
And then you just take it off, flip it around and put it back on. And then to secure it back in place, you just put the screws back on. And then here is the metal sheet, and we've also included little magnet clamps so that you can put pieces of paper up.
Very nice thought of all the different usages that would be thought of. You know, everybody comes in with a different idea of how they're going to post their materials for a gathering of some kind, and it looks like you've covered all the possibilities. It's great.
Great job.
Thank you.
This should be very, very appreciated by several groups that meet here. So I want to thank you very much, and I accept this officially on the part of the Village of Fairport. And congratulations, this is great.
Really
Thank
is.
you.
Nice.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, we got one more thing. Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
On behalf of the Fairport Service Unit, on completion of your Gold Award, we would like to bestow upon you a lifetime membership to Girl Scouts so that you can continue to inspire generations with knowledge.
Thank you.
All right.